Hi, my name is Jill, and I donated my kidney in April of 2016 to my daughter's friend's dad. I never thought too much about kidney disease. It's not really in my family at all. I only learned about it through my daughter's friend's parents. The mom was always very involved in school, and then I hadn't seen her around for a long time, and I asked everybody where she was, and they said, oh, her husband's really sick. He's dying. He has kidney disease and a bunch of other medical problems. And so I gave her a call, and she told me what was going on. And I thought, well, something has to be done. We should do a donor drive or something. And they were reluctant to do that because their kids were in school in the community, and they were just very private about it. So I said, well, I'll get tested. She said, just friends and close family are getting tested. And I said, I'll get tested. What the heck? So that's how I started learning a little bit about kidney disease. When I learned what kidney failure would mean for Francis, I actually didn't look towards the future. I just saw how he was suffering now, and it was shocking. I'd never seen and I didn't know him. I hadn't met him at the time, but as I was talking to his wife about it, I met him, and I'd never seen a human being in so much pain and suffering. Frankly, it was just very shocking. As I started learning about kidney disease and his treatment options, I was surprised kind of how bleak it was, because as a young man, I mean, to have to be on dialysis constantly and frequently, it didn't seem like a long-term option that was workable. And with his other medical problems, it wasn't. So, and I didn't really know much about giving a living donor, a living kidney. I thought, it would come from someone who had died. So that was new information that I was learning. I ultimately decided to donate a kidney because as I learned about it and became educated about what it involved and any risks to myself and what it would mean, I became a lot more comfortable with it. It really seemed very safe. And as long as I was a healthy person, it did not seem like a dangerous option for me. And I really didn't think about it until I found out I was a match, because I guess I didn't expect to be a match because he had a lot of family being tested, and I was the best available match. So that's when I started thinking about it more. My family was a little worried. My children, I have 3 daughters, they were completely unworried about it. They were really for it, 100%, extremely supportive. My husband and my parents were a little nervous because when you first hear that and you don't know anything about kidney donation, it sounds like a scary, dangerous thing. And I probably took it for granted, having learned so much about it so quickly and feeling so comfortable with it. I was like, don't worry, it's no big deal. It's going to be fine. But I just said to them, especially my husband, I said, read about it. Here are the materials. You'll feel better if you learn about it and understand it. And you won't be frightened for me. The only time I felt fear doing it was first when I first found out I was the best match. I wasn't fearful. I was surprised and a little shocked. And I thought, whoa, this whole time I've been gung-ho, and now, the rubber's hitting the road. Can I do this? And I felt very confident about it. I really did. And the only other time I felt a little fearful was right before I was about to go under to do it. Because even though it's such a safe operation, you always have these concerns, what ifs. And I got a little scared, but not that I wanted to stop. I still felt confident to go all the way forward. What helped me through was education, learning about it, and faith. I just felt like I'm supposed to do this for some reason, and I feel good with it. However it turns out, I know this is the right decision. To the operating room, I did feel a little fear. I just worried that, what if something went wrong? But what made me less fearful, knowing 100% that I'm ready to do this, and also the testing is so rigorous. I have my own medical team. They're there for me and my health, and they were just committed to make sure I was in shape to do this and a good candidate for this in every way. So I felt confident for those reasons. I felt like I am healthy enough to do this. I'm not at risk. So it calmed me. It calmed me, even though I was a little scared right before I was about to go in because I have children and all that. It was fine. It really was fine. The best moment after my surgery was there were a couple of good moments after my surgery. First, to hear that Francis made it through, because he really did have a lot of health problems and I was worried for him. And to hear that it went great and the doctors were really positive about it. And they had to go back in after because he was still bleeding and stuff like that. So he had other high risk stuff. But the kidney started working immediately. I mean, to hear that was just incredible. That piece of my body is inside of him and it's working perfectly. And his body is accepting it and working with it. And it was just a miracle. That was the coolest thing. And another good moment after surgery was the first time I urinated, because that was another little fear I had. Like, what if I never urinate again normally? And as soon as I did once, I felt great. My recovery was excellent. I remember the nurses and doctors telling me the best thing to do after surgery is to get up and walk and continue to walk. It'll help with the healing process. And that, coupled with my fear of not peeing, got me up immediately, and I walked constantly in the hospital. And it felt good. It felt good to walk, and I was determined to assist the healing process as much as I could. I was a 50-year-old woman at the time, and I felt pretty good. The pain was just like the pain of a wound. It really wasn't any kind of abnormal pain. And I was back to my normal self. I had a lot of time off from work, but other than just being a little tired in the beginning and the wound healing, after the wound healed, I felt great. What I learned about myself was that I'm very resilient and physically strong. And I felt really good about that. Having all those tests and all of them coming out so well, I felt like it's really nice to know that I'm very healthy, and I haven't been perfect. And in my life, as far as taking care of myself, I've always tried, but never perfectly. But I felt really great that I was well physically and strong enough to do this. So that made me proud, and it made me feel a little brave. About others, what did I learn about others? Well, just, the blessing of the people in my life was just a great thing, because even though I could see that some of them were scared, they still trusted me to make this decision, and they still stood behind me, and they were there for me in my recovery, which was really cool. After donating a kidney, my health has been excellent. It's, if anything, it's better because I have more of a sense of responsibility to take care of the kidney I have left. I don't want to stress it by being overweight. I don't want to, abuse it by having any artificial foods. So I try to be careful. I've lost weight since the operation, and I exercise more, and I'm much more conscious of the foods that I eat. Just because whatever, I know that I'm taking care of one kidney, and I want to, take care of it the best I can. Something I didn't expect was the only thing I regret. I don't regret anything at all that I did. I'm so glad I did this. It was great. Something I didn't expect was I didn't expect how invested I would be in it being successful after the operation. That was one thing. Even though they prepare you for that, before the operation, I felt, well, I really want this to work. I hope this works. But if it doesn't work, I'm not going to feel responsible because, I can only do what I can do, and hopefully the doctors, can make it work. But I didn't feel worried that, I would be to blame if it didn't work. But after I did it and I was recovering, I worried a lot about that. And I don't know why I didn't anticipate that, but I worried a lot about it failing because he needed it so badly, and it was kind of his last shot. And I thought, gosh, if this doesn't work after everything we've been through, and there'd been a lot of delays in the operation because of his medical problems, it was put off probably from start to finish for 2 years. We kind of, is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Where he wasn't physically capable of doing the operation. So it took a long time to get there. And then after it, I thought, oh gosh, if this doesn't work, that would be tragic. Especially for his family and him, they would have nowhere else to go. So I was just so worried about that, but thrilled that it all did turn out. So if I would have any advice about preparation for this with the hospital and yourself, I would think anticipate that. You might not feel it before the operation, but you do after the operation. You feel like this has to work. So you might want to prepare yourself for those feelings. Looking back, the best part about donating a kidney was definitely how great Francis is doing now. He has his life back. He's working full steam again. His family is, they're all intact and so happy. I to see that I had a little part of that is just such a privilege. I think about it sometimes and it just like blows my mind that I got to be used for this purpose. And this man now has a life, and what a privilege. I'm completely humbled by it. And I feel grateful that I get to, enjoy that joy of being part of this. Best advice I could give someone else who is thinking about being a living donor is, as long as you're in good health, and you feel mentally prepared to do it, go for it. If you have any fears or misgivings, educate yourself. Education was so key, learning about it, exactly about the whole process, what it would do to me, everything. Education just made it much less scary and really took the fear away from it and helped my family as well to see what it was all about.